Today we're going to break down some quick tips on how you can start your very own pop collection. Welcome back to Slapshot Pops. I'm John, and we have a great episode for you guys here today. Today we're going to talk about how to exactly start a Funko Pop collection. Now, one of the reasons I want to do this video was because I've seen a lot of new Funko Pop collectors in the community recently. With the pandemic and everything going on, a lot of people have looked to hobbies and collections, and since we have to stay at home for the most part, we need something to do to keep us busy and preoccupied. So a lot of people have turned to Funko Pops as a way to pass the time, something to look forward to. They're really fun to get in the mail, and obviously I'm one of the people that really enjoys this hobby. So I wanted to break down some quick tips. I've been collecting for about 7 years now. So even though I've only started my YouTube channel for the last 6 weeks, I actually have been around in the Funko community for a while now. And I feel that I have a lot of knowledge that I'd like to share with you guys. So I've actually been able to attain some very limited pieces, some very cool pops, and it wasn't by accident or mistake. I've met a lot of great people, but I've also studied the market, learned the trends, and I want to break it down even simpler for you guys to help everyone attain the pop collection that they want. So before we get into the video, I just want to say that we are doing great, and I want to thank you guys so much for the support. We have a 250 subscriber giveaway coming up, and we're going to be giving away a Marvel Collector Core Deadpool box, complete with everything just inside, not just the Funko Pop of the Deadpool on Unicorn. So if you guys like collecting comic books or sports, you've come to the right place. So please consider giving us a subscription. We'd really love to have you guys join our team. So the first tip that I want to give you guys for starting a Funko Pop collection. I know a lot of people probably walk through the store, they don't know what these little 4-inch figures are, they see one on the shelf, they buy one, and then 2 months later, bam! They have 500 pops in their house. They don't know how it happened. They don't know how it got to this point. They're running out of room to store them. They don't know which ones they like, which ones they don't like. So I want to help you guys prepare for that and figure out what to do before you get to that point where you're just overwhelmed. So my first point that I want to give you guys, when you're first starting out, you first buy a pop, you first see something on the shelf, before you buy another one, figure out which ones you like the best. If you don't know, there's a million, what it feels like, a million different pop lines now. The company Funko has acquired so many different licenses. There's just about a Funko Pop for everything nowadays. From movies, TV shows, comic book characters, sports, ad icons, anime, there's just so much. So the first tip I want to give you guys is just figure out what you like. Because if you don't, and you just start buying everything, you see a Sour Patch Kid, and then you see a Babe Ruth, and then you see a Batman, and then you just get overwhelmed, and it can get pretty hectic pretty quick. So that's my first tip. Figure out what you like, and go for those pops first, and then once you complete a line, complete a series, then maybe it's more sane to branch out and get other things because you guys know what you want. So that's my first point. So my second point that I want to give you guys is that every collector, whether you're in the United States or in a different country around the world, has different avenues of access to Funko Pops. Some of you guys might have stores in your area that sell them, like Walmart and big retailers like Target, or you might have smaller comic book shops that have pops that they bought secondhand that they're now putting on their own shelves, or you might not have any stores in your area, so you have to solely buy online. We all know how the Funko Shop drops go. Or you have to go out and find people who are either collectors or flippers or people that are resellers and get pops from them. So you really have to evaluate in your area what is your best avenue for buying pops. Because once you figure out your best avenue for buying pops, you'll know when to go get the new ones. If you're online only, then you're staying up late, you're waiting for those drops no matter where you are in the world, and you're figuring out where can I get the best pops in the best condition for the best price. So that's my second point for today. Figure out your best outlet for where you can purchase Funko Pop. My third point for today's video is you need to figure out where you're going to exactly put your pop figures once you get back to your house or your apartment or wherever you may live, and you have to evaluate how much space do I have in case I want to keep buying more and more. Because if you guys don't know, Funko is coming out with different pops every single week. And some weeks it seems like they're dropping 30, 40, 50 different characters or variants or exclusives. So it can get out of hand very quickly. So you need to figure out how much space do I have? Am I going to put these on shelves? Am I only going to be able to put a few on my desk and then have to put the other ones away in buckets? So you really have to evaluate how much space you have. And then for those of you guys who are just starting out, there's not just 4-inch figures anymore. So they have 6-inch, there's 10-inch, there's even a few 18-inch Funko Pop figures, which are massive. For the most part, I only collect the 4-inch figures. I like 2-packs, 3-packs, those are cool as well. But I really only have a few of the larger figures, and I don't have any of the 18-inch figures because those things are just huge. So I know my limitations with space, and I adjust my collecting habit accordingly. So that's my third tip. Figure out how much space you have. My fourth tip for today's video is you have to figure out if you're an in-box or an out-of-box collector. And what I mean by that is, are you going to actually take the pop out of its box to display it on your desk or on the shelf like we just talked about? And there's a significant difference in this because if you're an inbox collector like myself, I like to keep everything, pristine condition. I really care about the boxes. I get protectors for just about everything, and I don't have to dust the actual pops because they stay in the box in their nice little container. I think they look good this way. This is how I display them. But other people do it differently. They'll take all their pops out of box, which that's perfectly fine. So if you take your pops out of their actual boxes, one thing you'll notice right away is after a few days, they will get pretty dusty. So either you have to dust them or just be okay with the fact that they might be a little dirty and dusty, moving into the future. You also have to realize that if you want to go resell your pops at some point in time, you'll either need to hold on to the boxes, make sure the boxes are kept in good to near mint condition, and if you do get rid of the boxes, you have to understand that when you do go sell an out-of-box pop later on, generally collectors will consider that 50% of whatever the market value is. So for instance, this Captain America pop, he goes for about $120. If I was to just sell him right now without the box, without the sticker, everything, I'd get $60 at best. And that's usually hard to come by. A lot of people will actually pay less than that for out-of-box pops just because the box itself is now an important part of the collecting game. Just because so many pops are rare, some might be limited, and we'll get into this later on in a different video, but the stickers actually matter significantly. So that is my next tip. Figure out if you're in box, out of box, or maybe a combination of both. So my fifth point that I want to talk about today is you have to figure out if you want to be a collector who seeks pops because they're valuable, or you're going after pops solely just because you like them. So I took out 4 pops right here from my collection because they're a pretty good representation of what I collect. Obviously I have my Nightwing shirt on. I'm a huge DC fan. I love Batman. Nightwing is my favorite DC superhero. So I have his pop right here. Which is one of my favorites in my collection, even though he's not worth that much. For Marvel, I'm a huge Captain America fan, so I have one of his pops right here, and I primarily collect Star Wars as well as Freddy Funkos. So I got one of those. These are the 4 main lines, categories that I collect. I do have a few other things from other lines, as now I'm starting to branch out, but for the last 6-7 years, this is primarily all I've focused my energy, time, money, efforts into. So one of the things that I realized was that I'm kind of a mixture of both. I like collecting the characters I like, but I tend to go after the more expensive and more valuable pops of those characters and those lines. Most people, I think, are a combination of both. However, some people will say, no, I strictly just collect the ones I like. I don't need the expensive ones. I don't need the rare ones. If you're just a Deadpool collector and there's a million Deadpools, some people just like the $15, $20 pops, and that's good. Some people do collect for value, and you'll see that. Some people will not really have any narrowed down collections to a specific character or line. They'll have a massive collection, and all their pops are super rare and super valuable. And that's totally fine, too. I take pride in being a combination of both. But you need to figure out early on where you want to go in terms of that, because certain pops can get very expensive very quick, and if you go after something that's not really desirable, and you pay a lot of money for it, and then down the road it crashes and it's not very valuable, well, then you're stuck with something that you might not like. So you have to figure out, do I like this? Is it valuable? How bad do I really want it? So that's my next tip. Figure out if you're a collector who seeks value or something just because you like it. So my sixth point that I want to make today is, does box condition and box damage actually matter to you? And if you haven't thought about this, the main point that I wanted to make today, because of this, box damage and condition can significantly raise or value the price of a Funko Pop. So, for instance, this Funko Pop right here is the blue box Han Solo. Now, he's going for quite a bit nowadays. However, the one I have actually has a tiny rip in the top. Now, I was okay with this because he was a very difficult piece to find about a year ago when I bought him. However, because he had a tiny rip in the corner, I got him for about half of what he was going for at the time. About a year ago, he was only going for $75, and I picked him up for about 38. So I was happy with that. And now he goes for like 260 or something last time I checked, which is pretty crazy. However, at the end of the day, I'm really happy with the purchase I made, because even though box condition and damage does matter to me, at the end of the day, I'm not going to let a pop that I don't see every day go because of a little small imperfection, because you can't even tell with the stack, or the Funko Pop protector on it. So you have to come to terms with the fact is, are you going to let a pop go because it has a little bit of damage? Or, are going back to what we said earlier, are you an out of box collector, so damage doesn't matter, and you can get the pop for a really good price and then display it out of box, and then it doesn't matter. So that's why I wanted to make that point, because if there's box damage, you can usually haggle the price a little bit, unless it's a rare or very expensive piece, and that's something we will talk about in a later video. The last and final point that I want to make today, especially for collectors who are new to the community, and are starting to collect Funko Pops, don't, don't, don't get carried away. It's very easy to start buying everything you see, everything that's coming out. You gotta have it, you need it, you want it, you can't live your life without it. We just had San Diego Comic Con, New York Comic Con is right around the corner. I'm sure we're going to be getting some of those exclusives very, very soon. My biggest tip and biggest piece of advice is, you have to budget. Every month I set aside a certain amount of money that I spend, or that I plan on spending, on Pops. Once I've gotten to that amount, I don't buy anything else. If I do happen to go under that amount for the month, then I just slide it over to the next month. It's how I've been able to build my collection at a reasonable pace. And because Funko Pops can get so expensive nowadays, you really have to take money into consideration, because we're not all millionaires. I've yet to meet a millionaire in this community. I think this is a freaking awesome community. I've met so many great people. But all the collectors that I've talked to who have extremely rare pieces, very high-end, rare collectibles, they've all said the same thing. You have to budget, you have to study the market trends, and you have to be patient. So all these tips today, they're all centered around one main idea. That's, be patient, don't get carried away. If you do miss out on something on eBay, at the store, maybe you were going to meet somebody to buy a pop, and then all of a sudden he or she canceled on you and said, sorry man, I sold it to somebody else for a higher price. It's okay. Everything out there, it will come up again. Even though I just brought up this blue box Han Solo, which is hard to find, I have seen it several times again. Now, I didn't want to pay $260, because why would I? I paid $38 for this one, and I'm perfectly content with this one in my collection. However, good things come to those who wait, and at the end of the day, this community is all about helping each other, and if there's a pop you're really, really looking for, then just let somebody know. We'll always, always be happy to hook you up or help you find that pop from somebody else if we know they're selling. So that is my How to Start a Pop Collection Volume 1 video for today. 7 quick points that I just wanted to hit to hopefully get you guys started and get you down the right track to find the characters, the pops, and the collectibles that you want to get without spending a fortune, getting out of hand, or just getting overwhelmed from everything all at once. So I hope this video helps, especially the new collectors. And if you are new to the community, welcome. We're really happy you're here. And please reach out to me on Instagram at SlapshotPops if you have any questions. I'll be happy to help you out. So thank you guys for watching. If you like videos like this, please give it a big thumbs up and consider subscribing to the channel. We would love to have you a part of our team, as I said before. And remember, guys, don't stop collecting until you score. We will see you in the next video.